Alright, so good morning everyone. Today we will discussing the ICT Competency Standards under CHED UNESCO as provided in 2017, the Policy Standards and the Guidelines, that is PSG, for pre-service teacher education. So, the program outcomes for teacher education degrees clearly state that every future teachers, kayo po yun, okay, future teachers, is to demonstrate proficiency in the development and utilization of information, communication, and technology, or what we call the ICT. Resources in promoting quality teaching learning process. This is to ensure that as a future educator, that the program outcomes related to ICT shall be achieved. Competencies were identified to be developed by every pre-service teacher. It is said by CHED UNESCO at Bangkok of 2009. So this is the ICT competency standard is made up of 7 domains. So each domain has a set of competencies. The competencies are expressed in desired learning outcomes. So in becoming a proficient in a different competencies will enable you to handle learners of the 21st century of your future classrooms. So these domains will guide you all throughout your teaching career as a future educators. And of course, these domains and corresponding competency are found on the table below. Okay, here are the tables of ICT competency standard for pre-service teachers. So we have the first domain, or the domain 1, which is the understanding ICT in education. So the first one is to demonstrate awareness of policies affecting ICT in education. Second is to comply with ICT policies as they affect teaching learning. Third is contextualize ICT policies to the learning environment. So that is the inclusion of the first domain, is to understand the ICT in education. Now we have the second domain, which is the curriculum and the assessment. So the first one under the domain 2, or the second domain, is to demonstrate understanding of concepts, principles, and theories of ICT systems as they apply to teaching learning. The second domain is, the second one under the domain 2 is evaluate digital and non-digital learning resources in response to students' diverse needs. Third is to develop digital learning resources to enhance teaching learning. And of course, the fourth one is use ICT tools to develop 21st century skills, information, media, and technology skills, learning and innovation skills, and effective communication skills. So we have the third domain, or domain 3, is the pedagogy, which applies relevant technology tools for classroom activities. Second is to use ICT knowledge to solve complex problems and support students' collaborative activities. The third one under pedagogy is the model collaborative knowledge construction in face-to-face and virtual environments. So we have the fourth domain is the technology tools. So the first one is to demonstrate competencies in the technical operations of technology tools and system as they apply to teaching and learning. The second one under technology tools is use of technology tools to create new learning opportunities to support community of learners. Third is to demonstrate proficiency in the use of technology tools to support teaching and learning. Okay, we have the fifth domain, the organization and administration. Of course, we have the management technology assisted instruction in an inclusive classroom environment. We have the second under the fifth domain is to exhibit leadership in shared decision making using technology tools. So domain 6 is the teacher professional learning. So, first one is to explore existing and emerging technology to acquire additional content and pedagogical knowledge. Second is to utilize technology tools in creating communities of practice. Third is collaborate with peers, colleagues, and stakeholders to access information in support of professional learning. Now, the seventh domain or the last domain is the teacher disposition. That is, dalawa lang part po. Okay, the first part is to demonstrate social, ethical, and legal responsibility in the use of technology, tools, and resources. The second one is to show positive attitude towards the use of technology tools. Alright, so in the seventh domain of the under the pre-service teachers, okay, it is very important, and there are a lot of things that we have to learn, and so many topics that we are about to learn under the technology. And most of the things that we will learn for this for the seventh domain is to make us feel or understand, okay, deepen our understanding how it is important in our life to have a technology, okay, to embrace internet, to embrace the 21st century of teaching, okay. And also important to know, or also it is important to know as the things that you've known already, okay, and hahasain lalo, okay. Of course, hindi naman tayo tipong baguhan sa technology, and hindi rin naman tayo nandun sa verge na part na magaling sa technology. Of course, kaya nga may seminars, kaya nga may mga trainings, so we will grab that certain opportunities para mahasa ang kaalaman natin in terms of technology, in terms of the spreading the learnings of the students, for the students, alright? So, of course, the 7 domains of ICT Competency Standard for the Philippine Pre-Service Teacher Education, which are to understand the ICT in education, in curriculum, and of course, the assessment. Including din dito ang pedagogy and the technology tools. And of course, we have to deepen our literacy in order to cope up with the 21st century of education. So, kailangan alamin ang mga digital and non-digital and online learning tools and many more, etc. Okay? So, the effectiveness of ICT supports and changes the way of teaching, especially that we have to reapproach our way of handling students. Paano turuan ng mga students? So, we have to reapproach that one. So, of course, the way of teaching and learning in many subject areas. ICT is very useful and helpful, not only sa mga teachers but also to the parents and sa mga estudyante, kasi it is just one click away, ma-reach out mo na yung mga estudyante mo. So parang sinishrink down niyo yung process na pupunta ka pa sa bahay, pa-follow ka pa ng protocol or whatsoever. So this 7 domain can help you understand and deepen your understanding regarding on the technology or in the technology under education. Alright, so before we proceed to ISTE, or what we call ISTE, or the National Education Technology Standards for teacher and for students. So what do we mean by STE or ISTE? So we means the International Society for Technology in Education. So yan ang meaning ng ISTE o tipong ISTE. So what is ISTE? So it is an international advocacy organization that seeks to transform teaching and learning through technology and adherence to the ISTE standards. So the ISTE standards are perhaps the most critical because of the purpose of education is to ensure learning or to ensure the students' learning. Okay? The learning environment is technology rich. So, ang highlights ng learning dito is through technology. Kaya siya nagiging critical. That is why as a future educator, kailangan mo talagang yakapin at kailangan maging literate ka, hindi illiterate ha, maging literate ka sa technology or tools na gagamitin natin in regards in giving lessons, topics sa mga estudyante natin. Alright? So next, ISTE is to empower student voice as well and ensure that learning is a student-driving processes. So, yan yung meaning ng ISTE. Now, let's go for the ISTE National Educational Technology Standard for Teachers. This is for teachers or NETST, tapos asterisk T. T stands for teachers. Okay. So it is an international organization for educational technology called International Society for Technology in Education. That is the ISTE. So it is established standard for both teachers and students. This standard will also refer to the development of the Philippine ICT Competency Standard, which includes the following. So we have a few standards for teachers. We have the first standard, technology, operations, and concept. So this means that teachers demonstrate a sound understanding of technology, operation, and concept. Meaning to say, dapat sa standard number 1, alam ni teacher paano gamitin o i-operate ang isang technology or ang isang gadget, of course, kasi kailangan nga maging literate, di ba? Alangan ba naman tawagin mo pa yung estudyante mo na, ay Juan, ikaw nga click kasi hindi ako marunong nito eh. So, paano pa naging teacher ka in the 21st century kung ang mismo mga estudyante mo ang tatawagin mo para mag-click kasi nga hindi ka marunong? Alright, so that is the first standard under ISTE for teachers. Alright, the second one, you have planning, designing learning environment, and experiences. So, kahit sa lesson plan, pinakauna talaga is the planning. Kaya nga lesson plan, we have to plan our lesson. Ganun din po in terms of giving an instruction through technology. We have to plan. But beforehand, before planning, kailangan mag-set ka rin ng objectives. Okay? Kasi pag wala kang objectives at the end of the lesson, at the end of the day, wala kang goal. So you have to plan with objectives. And of course, you have to design your learning environment and you have to put experience in it. Why? Bakit po? Kasi pag walang experiences po, this is a true to life experience mo. Kasi pag walang experience, hindi mo ma-emphasize ano yung lesson na naka-integrate doon. Alright? So this standard or the second standard is implying that teachers utilize the use of technology to plan and design effective learning environments and experiences. Alright. Under the second standard po, dito din natin malalaman on what technology we will going to use. How about ma'am, nasa pinaka-rural areas kami, pinaka-bundok na ng bundok. Kailangan po ba namin mag-provide ng laptop? Okay, yan ang pinakamagandang question doon. Kaya nga may planning and designing learning environment and experiences. So, dito sa experience, of course, alam mo na anong mangyayari. Walang signal, walang kuryente o magdadala ka pa ba ng laptop. Maliban na lang po kung uwian ka. Pwedeng magdala ang laptop na naka-fully charged at the same time may videos or may presentations ka ng ginagawa. Kaya nga sa sa second standard, ang pinakauna is to plan. And then you decide on what you're going to do. What certain gadgets na dadalhin mo. O kung hindi man kailangan ng gadgets kasi nga wala rin yung kwenta pagdating doon, of course, you have to set a visual aids or materials na naka-align pa rin doon sa topic, na pasok pa rin doon si technology. Okay? Always remember, technology hindi kailangan maging digital. Always remember, si traditional is applicable pa rin po nowadays. Alright? Lalong-lalo na sa mga rural areas na tipong sa urban areas pala po. Sa urban areas na medyo mahirap ang signal, yung wala pang signal, wala pang power, yung electricity. So may mga ganun pang area dito all over the Philippines. Now, the third standard is teaching, learning, and curriculum. Okay. Teachers should be mindful that in the implementation of curriculum plan, they have to include strategies for applying technology to maximize student learning. Okay. So, based sa natutunan ko nung nag-OJT ako, ang number one tinuturo sa akin is, of course, you have to plan your lesson. Diba? You have to plan, you have to plan your strategy, paano mo papatakbuhin yung lesson. O, diba? Tapos, ina-apply pa rin po si traditional, at the same time, kailangan ipasok si multimedia. Kasi lalong-lalo na ngayon, ang mga bata, they are engaged sa gadget. Okay, paano yung, as you can still remember your metacognition, di ba, we have two, under metacognition knowledge, we have two, the meta-memory and the meta-attention. Now, paano yung attention ng mga bata magfo-focus pa rin sa lesson? Of course, di ba, meron, especially in elementary, meron lang certain na minutes. Hindi yan hours, minutes lang po ang attention ng bata. Ngayon, sa certain minutes na yun, pag lumampas, dapat alamin din natin kung ano yung another strategy natin na ma-maintain ang focus nila sa lesson. And that is belong under the standard 3, which is the teaching, learning, and curriculum. Alright? Alright, so we will continue. So, standard 4, the assessment and evaluation. So, under the standard of fourth standard is the teachers should apply technology to facilitate a variety of effective assessment and evaluation strategies to collect and analyze data, interpret results, and communicate findings to improve instructional practice and maximize student learning. So, by this po, ito yung ginagamit na natin si Google Classroom. So, di ba nagpapa-assessment or nagpapa-evaluate si teacher under Google Classwork or Google Sheet. So, pagpasa ninyo, pagkatapos ninyo mag-quiz or mag-exam po doon, na-analyze po kagad yung data kung saan mismo nagkakamali ang mga estudyante. And as you can still remember on ASLR 2, yes, ASLR 2, yun yung subject po na nag-a-analyze dapat ano yung mga good and bad questions. If it's too easy or too hard for them. So, by analyzing or by assessing the certain questions, the certain na mga items na mahihirapan, so doon mo makikita sino-sino yung mga estudyante nagkakamali sa questions na yon, or kung ano ang most questions na nagkakamali sila or most questions na tumatama sila. So, doon mai-interpret ang data. Kasi sa through Google Sheet kasi, makikita kagad yung score, at the same time, nagbibigay na siya kagad ng mga datas. So, of course, you have to interpret, and of course, you have to communicate ano yung mga dapat pang gawin. Okay, iwasan natin yung mga bad na questions. When we talk about bad questions, yun yung maraming nagkakamali. So, ano yung dapat strategy nun? Of course, we have to rephrase the question. Baka masyadong malalim naman yung tanong na hindi na nila naiintindihan. We have to rephrase it kasi nga, elementary. Hindi naman tayo bumababa sa level nila, pero of course, kailangan din naman nating intindihin ang mga every unique na differences nila. Kasi sabi ko nga nung mga previous pa na klase, no, na may iba dyan na slow learner, may iba dyan na expert na kaagad sa topic. So, of course, hindi naman po magre-rely tayo sa question dahil sa expert na learners, kung hindi, doon tayo magbabase sa mga novice na learners. Alright? So, we have to assess and evaluate. Alright, by using technology. Next is standard, or the fifth standard is productivity and professional practice. So, teacher use technology to engage in ongoing professional development and lifelong learning in support of student learning, increase productivity, and to build community of learners. So, of course, you have to be very professional in terms of using technologies, okay? So that is one way of implying the development in your life, okay? And of course, you have to support the student learning. Sabi ko nga, do not discriminate ang mga estudyante mo, lalong-lalo na pag nahihirapan sila sa certain task. Do not discriminate, kasi pag nag-discriminate ka na ikaw as a teacher, nag-discriminate ka kagad nga, ay, si Ana, si Juan, si Pedro, Diyos ko, hindi marunong maggamit ng Google Classroom. Ilang beses ko nang tinuktok sa mga utak nila yung paano gamitin ng Google. Do not discriminate, because when you do discrimination, ibig pong sabihin wala kang hindi ka unprofessional ka na nun. Right? So of course, you have to be very professional. You have to be very patient, especially that you are handling elementary grades. Alright? So next, the last standard, the sixth one, is the social, ethical, legal, and human issues. So teachers understand the social, ethical, legal, and human issues surrounding the use of technology in support of students learning who come from a diverse background. Affirm diversity, promote safe and healthy use of technology resources, and facilitate access to technology resources for all students. Okay, when we talk about diversity of the background of the students, yan yung sinasabi ko, unique. Hindi lahat dyan mayayaman at hindi lahat din mayayaman, hindi rin ang iba dyan mahihirap. So, of course, you have to try to look in every differences of your learners. Kung hindi naman ibig sabihin, pag mapera yung estudyante mo, magaling na kaagad sa computer. May iba dyan na kung sino pa yung walang-wala, sila pa yung mga mahihilig babuting-ting sa technology, di ba? So you have to promote safe and healthy use of technology, kasi hindi natin, when we do overuse of technology, of course may bad na impact doon. So we have to use it in a nice way, in a good way, in order to have the safetyness and the health of using of technology resources, right? Wag natin hayaan na malulung tayo sa technology, kasi when sometimes too much is very, very dangerous, right? So likewise, ISTE also develops standards needed for students. So these standards will be used as a guide by teacher to plan technology-based activity in which students achieve success in learning, communication, and life skills. So this is the ISTE National Educational Technology Standard for Students, or the NETST with an asterisk S. Ibig sabihin for that is for student. From how technology teachers facilitate learners, outcomes of student learning should indicate that the following standard have been complied with. So the first one is we have the creativity and innovation. So the first standards will produce students who demonstrate creative thinking, construct knowledge, develop innovative products and processes using technology from existing knowledge. So we all know that every student is unique and may mga iba dyan na grabe ka creative mag-isip. Okay? And that is their existing knowledge. So by using technology, they are able to develop, okay, and construct the tipong parang mahasa palalo ang kanilang skills. That is under the standard, the first standard, which is creativity and innovation. Creativity, nandun na sa kanila, nature na sa mga bata ang magiging creative, but they innovate through the use of technology. Alright, the second standard, we have communication and collaboration. So this standard requires students to use digital media and environments to communicate and work collaboratively to support individual learning and contribute to the learning of others. So this includes the use of variety of media and formats for global awareness with learners from other cultures. So as you can see, kahit nasa malalayo ang mga classmates sila, they are able to collaborate and communicate with other students. Why? Because of technology, because of using social media, because using of the Google Classroom, Zoom, they can collaborate with the assignments, activities, the research, and whatsoever. So that is for the standard 2, which is communication and collaboration through using of technology. Now we have the third one, is this research and information fluency. So students are expected to apply digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information and plan strategies for inquiry. This standard expects the students to locate, organize, analyze, evaluate, synthesize, and ethically use information from a variety of sources and media. But this standard 3 is very, very crucial one, because we should avoid, or as a student, we should avoid or acknowledge or get their attention in order to avoid plagiarism. When we talk about plagiarism, they have to copy-paste everything on the internet. We have to tell them that we have to avoid plagiarism. Alright? So, kaya nga, diba, organize. Dapat i-organize muna nila yung idea. They have to plan it ahead of time. And then they analyze kung tama ba yung site na ginamit nila. And of course, they have to evaluate or reassess the current na mga information kung fake news o kung totoo ba yun. Alright? Okay po ba tayo dun? Okay, so next, standard 4. Or under this fourth standard is the critical thinking, problem solving, and the decision making. So this standard expects the student to use critical thinking skills to plan and conduct research, manage project, solve problems, and make informed decision using appropriate digital tools. So this one, pasok po ito siya, hindi lang kay elementary but also kay senior high, high school, senior high, and colleges. So when we do conduct research, especially sa mga colleges, so ang pinaka-best na tool is si Google Worksheet. Okay, worksheets. Kasi sila yung tipong, di ba, may mga gathering of data. Ang Google na ang mag-a-analyze. Of course, ang estudyante na lang ang mag-i-interpret. Na as you can see on the screen, as you can see on the result, that the majority of the researchers or the correspondents are male and others are females. So as you can see, the ages of the brackets of our correspondence is from 18 years old to 21 years old is 5%. So makita na doon, no? And pasok si critical thinking sa conducting a research. Of course, problem solving, pasok din siya. And si decision making. Alright. So the fifth one is the digital citizenship. So it is required by this standard that every technology student becomes a digital citizen who demonstrates ethical and legal behavior, exemplified by the practice of safe, legal, and responsible use of information. Further, students exhibits positive attitude towards the support of technology for collaboration, learning, and productivity as a digital citizen. Alright, so this one, so of course you have to be very careful. You have to imply or emphasize the rules and regulations under the under technology. Okay, always ipatatak niyo sa alimpatakan ng mga estudyante that they have to think before they click. If tama ba yung information na kukuha nila, if tama ba yung sources na kukuha nila, and tama ba yung sites. When we talk about sites, yung mga links na kinopy-paste nila doon. Alright? So, of course, safe. Paano kung ang naklik nila na site is pang porno? Oh, safe ba yun? Hindi. Legal ba yun? Hindi. Responsible? Irresponsable po yun. Because you are using the wrong information. Paano kung fake news pala yung napindot at fake news pala yung nabasa niya na resources? So, is it safe? No. Is it legal? No. Kasi nga, false ang information na nakuha niya. Alright? So, of course, the last one is the technology, operations, and concept. So, this is sound understanding of technology concept, system, and operation is a standard that students should comply with. They too are expected to further transfer current knowledge to learning of a new technology. So, sila din po ay obliged and they are responsible to have the learning under the new technologies. Okay, so as a pre-service teacher in education, pre-service teacher education students, kayo po yun, you will have to master the knowledge and skills, which is what we called learning to know for the standards for the students. However, since you will become a teacher in the future, you should harness the same knowledge and skills to become, learning to become future teachers. So as you can see on the screen, po, yan po yung summarize ng ISTE standard for teachers and ISTE standards for students. Technology operations concept for the teachers, creativity and innovation for the students. Planning, designing learning environment and experience kay teacher, communication and collaboration naman kay students. Teaching, learning and curriculum kay teacher, research and information fluency kay students. Assessment and evaluation kay teacher, critical thinking, problem solving and decision making naman po under kay students. Productivity and professional practice kay teacher. Of course, we have the digital citizenship for the students. And lastly, we have social, ethical, legal, and human issue under kay teacher. And we have the technology operation and concepts kay students. Alright? Alright, so that would be all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something from our discussion today. So I hope you stay well and stay safe, everyone. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.